springtime rolling around. April showers bring May flowers. It also brings out home sellers and buyers.
Indeed.
We have a lot of sellers that are getting ramped up for the summertime, for the spring market.
Yep.
It's a great time to sell. I think statistically, it's the best time to sell. Realtor.com and all those places, they say that April, May.
Yeah, people gearing up. People coming out of hibernation from the winter time and getting ready to make moves.
Yeah, absolutely. But not every house is ready for listing.
Indeed. Yeah. And I think that's one of our big value adds, right? Is because we work with buyers as well. We know what they're looking for. We know what moves the needle. We know what impacts them. So when we consult with a seller to get their house ready for sale, there's a lot of things that they might think they need to do or not need to do that they might either need to do or not need to do.
Right. You don't have to do everything. It doesn't have to be a new house. You don't have to bring everything up to 2024 standards per se.
Yeah, because there's, different strokes for different folks, right? There's styles and conditions of properties that some people are good with and okay with. Yeah. But I think a lot of the things that sellers may need, they don't necessarily need. But let's talk about some of the things that move the needle for sellers.
Yeah. I think definitely right off the rip, clean is better than new. I think
totally.
If you have some older carpets, I think giving it a good steam clean goes a long way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, condition and cleanliness of a house makes such a big impact. And a lot of times a seller will want to do renovations because they think they need to. But the reality is a lot of times they just need cleaning and they just need decluttering and making the house feel like it's been cared for. Right. Hopefully it was cared for, but that helps. I mean, that's the biggest thing that buyers feel is like, has this house been neglected? Stylistically, they can get over that. They can repaint.
Right.
They can, change the style up, but can they get over the fact that, the house wasn't cared for? Because if they didn't care for keeping it up from a cleanliness perspective, what about deferred maintenance, right?
Septic, plumbing, electrical.
Yeah, they probably didn't keep up with that either.
Right, exactly. Are they taking care of leaks and stuff like that?
Yeah. I think another big thing, and probably or arguably one of the more important things, is curb appeal.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You and I have both been with buyers pulling up to a house. We get outside of the cars, we go walk to our buyer, and they tell us they don't even want to go inside.
Yeah, they're like, wrap it up, let's go. We wouldn't even get to the door yet.
Right,
we're ready to go.
So, and a lot of times it comes on curb appeal. People make first impressions are everything, right?
Absolutely.
So when you pull up to a house, you're automatically starting to judge that house.
Whether it's right or wrong, this is an instance where people judge the book by its cover.
Yes.
And it's their first impression, yeah.
Yes. Low-hanging fruit that you can do, power washing the siding, planting some flowers, sprucing up the driveway, walkways.
Yeah, clean it, just hit it with a hose real quick, get the dirt stains and all that stuff off of it,
And these are all very inexpensive and quick things that you can do.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, people understand most of the time, you're living in the house. People can understand that there's furniture and that there's, you're living there. There's a bedroom set, there's some clothes. But there's some stuff you could probably get ready, to pack away and move to the basement and kind of minimalize.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of times a seller will ask, well, should I paint? Should I paint everything? And sure, I guess if the walls are really marred up and jacked up, then painting's probably a good idea. But if they're neutral colors and they're not that bad of condition, a lot of times the buyer who buys that house is going to want to repaint their own color. And do, and that's again an inexpensive thing for a buyer to do. So they'll look past paint a lot of times. So not necessarily worth it unless you need it.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, listen, if you got some cobwebs in the corner and in a scuff mark here and there on the foot, maybe you take a magic eraser and maybe just, give it a quick little love and affection.
Yeah.
But everybody's going to have their own taste. You can't guess what the buyer's going to want for paint. Just something neutral, keep it a clean palette for them, and they'll do their thing happy.
For sure.
They'll be happy with doing it.
Yeah. Another thing that I think moves the needle a lot for buyers is basements, right? Like, what condition is the basement in? Is it musty? Does it smell like mildew? Is it being taken care of? Because that's a real sensitive topic for a lot of people, is environmental issues, mold, mildew, stuff like that.
Sure. And that's where it's going to be too, because you don't visit it every day, and that's you know, understandable, but you got to get it ready to list.
For sure.
You know?
Yep. And again, people, an issue in the basement can kill the whole vibe on the whole house.
Absolutely.
Very quickly.
You know, even just honestly, I even had a seller one time. He just took a towel to the copper piping to the to
Polish it up a little bit.
Just give it a little,
Yeah.
It goes a long way. It doesn't look as decrepit and old and
Yes. That goes back to the condition aspect about it, right? I think getting the house clean and in a good state condition-wise is way more important than doing full-blown renovations.
Absolutely.